Hey, this is James, and helping me out here, this is Matt Conan.
Hi, everyone.
And the reason he's here is because he's going to show me a PC game on his laptop. PC games, I don't really do too much. I'm usually a console guy.
James is absolutely the expert when it comes to console games. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I did grow up with a lot of PC games. I played a lot of Civilization and Command and Conquer and Warcraft back in the day. But my favorite games were always point-and-click adventure games.
And I suck at those kind of games. Is that what this is that you're going to show me?
That's what we have here today. It's actually a new game, but it's based on the same point-and-click adventure game style.
Okay, what do we got here?
Back to the Future.
Oh no, not another one of those.
This one's good though.
Oh yeah? Is there hula hoop girls in it?
No.
Do you get attacked by bees?
No bees.
Do you throw bowling balls?
No bowling balls.
Does it have the actual Back to the Future music in it?
It actually has the real Back to the Future music in it.
Alright, well, let's check it out. So, wow, playing a video game on a computer. How do you work this thing?
I know, it's weird, but there's that's a screen there. You got the keyboard right there. But all you really need to know for this game is the mouse.
So that's it? You just use the mouse?
Just use the mouse.
Oh, wow. Hello, computer. Oh, look at that. Start up just from saying hello.
Okay, so here's where you actually start playing the game.
Now this is interesting because so far it's been just like the first Back to the Future movie, the mall scene, and now something happened that didn't happen, so now it's kind of like a twist. I'm wondering how this all plays out. It's pretty interesting so far. Now, is this typical control in a game of this kind?
Sometimes. This game is made by Telltale. Some of their games have actually just been you click somewhere on the screen and your character walks there. They seem to have changed their control style recently so that you've got to click and drag to sort of move your character around. I think the only reason I can think of to do that is that maybe sometimes people were clicking on items they didn't mean to click when they were just wanted to walk somewhere.
So have you played a lot of Telltale games before?
Yeah, the first Telltale game I played was, I think, the first game they made, Sam and Max, which was based on one of my favorite adventure games from the 90s, so the LucasArts era, Sam and Max Hit the Road. And instead of it being like a massive 20 or 25 hour adventure with a whole giant world behind it, they kind of broke it down into episodes, which I'd never seen before. So there are 5 episodes, the same way this game works, and each one takes maybe 4 hours to complete. LucasArts, the company behind some of the most popular ones, stopped making games like this somewhere in the late 90s, and so did Sierra, the company that made all of the King's Quest games. So they this genre kind of disappeared for a while, and it's cool to see companies like Telltale sort of bring it back and find a way to make it work, and I think the episodic format is kind of interesting. So I've played their Sam and Max game. They made a game based on Homestar Runner, and now Back to the Future.
You ever played Maniac Mansion?
Actually, yeah, I did play Maniac Mansion, and in fact there was a sequel to Maniac Mansion called Day of the Tentacle, and it was exactly this same style of game. But yeah, Maniac Mansion on the Nintendo is probably the closest thing any Nintendo game was to this, right?
It was one of those games I couldn't figure out for the love of God what to do, and I couldn't even get into like the first door or something.
I think I had the same experience with Maniac Mansion.
So what's going on right now is that Doc Brown's in trouble again. He's in like a prison, and we're in the 30s in Hill Valley, and there's a speakeasy, so that's all going on with the gangsters and everything. And Marty has a grandfather, Arthur McFly, who they keep calling Artie, and he's basically just like George McFly. And somehow he got roped into working for Tannins, and Tannen is like a gangster. You know, would you expect anything less? And basically they're trying to get Arthur McFly to testify against Tannen, but, you know, he's being a wuss like usual.
Sorry, some other time.
So one thing I'm finding is that it's pretty easy to play. Is this typical for point-and-click games? Are they usually a lot more complicated, or what?
No, not really. Gamers familiar with old-school LucasArts games like The Secret of Monkey Island or Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis or Grim Fandango will kind of recognize this style, and they'll be able to jump right in. And, you know, this is your first time playing it. Even if you've never played any of these games, it's sort of easy to learn.
Like I said, I'm usually very terrible at these kind of games. I keep searching the same spots for hours and hours, but this is working pretty good for me. I'm still able to keep moving along. I'm not getting stuck too much,
Part of the fun is like getting stuck and finding your way through it, and kind of gives you that little boost of feeling like you're smarter than the game, although obviously you're doing exactly what the programmers expect you to do eventually. But I think this game does a really good job of keeping you from feeling stuck for too long with all of the hints and Marty sort of talking to himself as he walks around.
There's no way I'm gonna keep that door open without some help.
Well, the one thing I like about this is when I move the little flux capacitor thing around, it highlights, and then I click on something, and then whatever it is that I need to do with that thing I'm clicking on, it just happens, It's not like where you get this huge menu that says, look, use, pick up, open, close, push, pull, I like that they simplified this a lot.
Makes it a lot easier if there's only one thing you can do with a given item, like obviously if you have a can, you're going to open the can or close the can. You're not going to like push it or pull it. You don't need all those like options. It doesn't make any sense.
Click on a doorknob, I'm not going to search the doorknob or talk to it or something. The inventory is kind of like in Zelda where Link just puts it all into his pouch. So Marty has this guitar and stuff, and he just puts it in his pocket, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, and you never see it at all. They actually used to make fun of that when the games were like even longer than this, and your character would rack up a million items. I remember a scene in Monkey Island where your character, Guybrush, basically had to pick up a 10-foot pole, and so it'd be obvious a guy carrying a 10-foot pole around, but he just like crushes it into his pants or something, and it just...
You see it happen?
You see him just like, like a magician, it disappears into his pants, and he's just like, oh, 10-foot pole, done.
Although I do think it would be interesting if there was a game where, like, say Marty did have the guitar like on his back, and then he picks up all these other objects, and they just start piling up on him.
Soon you can't even see Marty's face. It's just like items falling all over the place. One thing that I noticed has kind of been added to these games, as graphics have improved over the years, you're actually able to see characters' facial expressions, and sometimes you can tell if Marty's uncomfortable or if Doc is thinking of something or they've just had an idea, whereas back in the day, if your character had like 4 pixels for his entire head, you couldn't really get that, and it all had to come through in like dialogue or text.
And the voice acting is really good.
Yeah, it is. You can tell sometimes just from inflection, like where the character's voice cracks, what they think about something.
I sound so
Young?
I was going to say intense.
And that can kind of give you a clue to what the next step might be.
The plot recap is pretty good. That's always a good idea, so then when you load up the game again, you got all the story to get you back up to speed.
I've definitely had that problem in the past playing massive games like Zelda that, take 70 hours or something to play through.
That happened to me on Twilight Princess. I didn't play it for like a year, and then I came back to my game, and I was so confused. Games are like drugs. They punish you when you go off them. It's like withdrawal.
It is like withdrawal.
Not that I've ever had that, but...
Yeah, me either.
Alright, so this guy's just gonna keep shooting at me?
Yeah, pretty much. Since you can't die in these games, bullets come at you and...
And he has infinite bullets?
Yeah, he's got as many bullets as he needs, so he's just gonna keep shooting, and you can keep, catching them in your teeth. I don't know what's going on.
So I think I'm gonna hit him with this hubcap. Oh, yeah, got him. Wait a minute. So is he still driving the truck now? Like after I hit him with the hubcap?
Yeah. It looks like he's just gonna keep driving the car. There's a couple of fugitives in the back, and they just threw a hubcap at him, and his gun's rattling around back there, and there's some kind of rocket bike. But that's no reason to stop. I think you should just keep driving.
Okay, so I got the tire iron. Can I hit Tannen with it?
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, I want to hit him with it. Don't you ever do anything violent?
I don't think there's a single, like, violent act that Marty does in this game. But I suppose it matches with the movies, you know?
Yeah.
He's not really a violent guy.
It definitely matches with the movies. There's nothing that he really does. He does, like, the what the hell is that thing?
Hey, kid!
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
And then he does the hubcap, where in Back to the Future 2, he throws a tray at Biff.
And Marty's such a good guy, even at the very end when he's got a gun, and he could literally just open the window and kill Kid Tannen right there and end that whole problem and wipe out the entire Tannen line so they never harassed his family ever again, and he doesn't do it.
Now that would be pretty cool, like a crossover with Back to the Future and the Terminator, where they have to wipe out the whole Tannen family's existence.
There you go. Notes for next time, Telltale Games.
Well, I have to say, I've been waiting to play this for a long time now, and I finally did. Just got through the whole first episode, which was really exciting.
Did it live up to the hype?
Definitely. It was really cool to learn more about all the characters in Back to the Future. Young Emmett Brown arguing with his father, I thought was really funny because the argument goes on forever until you like solve the puzzle. They have just the craziest vocabulary, and
yeah, it doesn't kind of make a lot of sense, but it's very funny to listen to.
It's really funny how the McFly family seems to have some kind of weird thing going on where like Arthur McFly and then his son George McFly, they both look the same, have the same kind of mannerisms, and then Marty McFly and then his son, who you see in Back to the Future 2, are both completely identical. So every
second generation. So Marty's kid's kid will be a totally different person.
Yeah.
But then his kid will be the same as him.
It has the same kind of sense of humor as the movies.
How much? Not enough.
And like to me, after the argument scene when Marty is taking the rocket, there's actually some emotion to that too. Like they actually build in this, like you kind of feel bad for Doc.
Yeah, definitely. It's really fitting that after all this time, a Back to the Future 4 would come in the form of a video game. I think it's perfect because I don't think it would really work out if they tried to do it as a movie for several reasons, but I think it's also good that it turned out to be like a point and click kind of game, because that's really what fits the Back to the Future storyline, I think, a lot better, because when they tried to make it into side-scrollers and, like, action games, they had to invent lots of ridiculous things.
I mean, it's not really an action series like it is a very thoughtful sci-fi film, you know, so it makes sense that you'd have these sort of logic puzzles and conversational tricks and things as the way to guide you through the story.
I could see somebody not liking it if you're not into like watching a story unfold, like if you don't like a lot of like cutscenes and dialogue and stuff like that. If you really want a game where you're just playing and there's action and stuff, then it's probably not the game for you. But I think you know, most people will really enjoy this, especially if you're a fan of Back to the Future. Then it's required.
You know, it hits on two levels, because as a Back to the Future fan, it's awesome, and as a fan of adventure games, it's awesome for that. So I've gotten as far as the end of episode 3. Episode 3 finishes with this great cliffhanger. It makes me excited to get into episodes 4 and 5, but, you know, I'm a little behind.
You're behind. It took me like 6 months to play the first one. But I'm looking forward to playing the rest.